Hi there, my name is Melinda. I'm one of the expert teachers here at E2 Language. Today we're going to be looking at reading, and in particular we're going to look at reorder paragraphs. Okay guys, if you're on Zoom, could you put something into the chat? Just tell me where you're from and then I'll know that you can hear me and everything's okay, and I'll know where you're from. I always like to know where you're from. It's always very interesting for me. Interesting to see people coming from different parts of the world. So could you pop something into the chat? Where are you from? Okay, so we've got 14 people with us on Zoom and 32 on YouTube at the moment. So welcome everyone. Okay, we have Cherise from South Africa. So good morning to you. I think it must be very early in the morning. For me, it's afternoon, 2 p.m. I'm in Australia on the Gold Coast and my name is Melinda. Okay, so we've got Sophia from the Philippines, we've got Sarjanya from India, we've got Pratik from Nepal, we've got Jenilyn from Dubai, we've got Deborah from Sarawak in East Malaysia. I used to live in Brunei, Deborah, practically next door neighbours. Okay, good morning to Mahesh from Dubai and Ma Miriel from Melbourne. I'm sure I've met you before, Ma, so welcome back. We've got Angelina from Singapore, fabulous, and Ken from the Philippines. Welcome everyone. The purpose of today is to give you a bit of a taste of a live class. You get a bit of an idea of what happens in a live class, and also maybe some extra tips and certainly some extra practice on reading reorder paragraph. If you've got questions at any time, pop them into the chat. Every now and then I'll look at the chat and maybe pull out a few questions that I think would be common questions that would be useful to answer. Okay. So Deborah's just telling me she's in Miri. So yes, we were next door neighbours. Lovely. Well, in terms of countries being very close. Okay, and on YouTube, so I've got YouTube down here. So I look down here every now and then. On YouTube, we've got Laxmi from India, Hazem from Egypt, Jasmine from Bangladesh, and Gail from Manila in the Philippines, Sandeep somewhere in Australia, big country. Okay, and last one we'll look at Srinivas from India. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us. So the plan for today, let me just grab a pointer so you can see what I'm talking about on the screen. Save you guessing. Okay, so we'll look very briefly at what's coming up this week. Then we'll spend most of this session on reading, particularly on reorder paragraphs, and then we'll look at a few study tips. And at the end, there is some bonus practice material. I'll give you a link to that. Okay, if you want to communicate with me, if you're on YouTube, a little bit difficult, I will look, but YouTube is a few minutes behind. If you're on Zoom, pop it into the chat. Don't raise your hand. If you raise your hand, I don't really know why, and I don't know, I can't say, how can I help you, because you can't answer. So the discussion always through chat. So not hand up, not Q&A, but through the chat is the best way to have your question or your comment acknowledged. Okay, welcome Dora from Australia. Okay, so this is what we're planning to do most of the time on reorder paragraphs and some bonus material at the end. Okay, and that symbol there, bonus material, a gift. Okay, so what's coming up this week? So later today, we've got speaking classes. So speaking advanced during the week, listening, speaking, writing, reading. So all of the skills that you're going to need for PTE. And then we also have small group classes. And I'll tell you all about these things after we've looked at reorder paragraph. So if you want to know about those, keep your questions about those until the end. Okay, but what we're going to do now is jump into reorder paragraphs. Got lots of people ready to jump in. They're all looking very happy. I'm sure you're very happy, although it's not a task that brings joy to people in general. Even native speakers can find this task difficult. Sometimes for a native speaker, it's quite easy, but it can be difficult as well. Okay, so 3 things that we need to look at. First of all is the task. So what is the task? What do you have to do? Then the method. What kinds of methods, what kinds of things are you doing in order to solve the problem that's created by reorder paragraphs? and then we'll do some practice and analyze the answers and why they were the answers. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So you're going to see something like this on the screen. So usually there's 5, sometimes 4 boxes here. In the wrong order, you've got to put them into the right order. Now, one of the interesting things in the reading is time management. You really need to manage your time. I think it's very easy to spend 5 minutes on reorder paragraphs. Problem is you haven't got 5 minutes. And what you do, in fact, have is on average, so you have one timer across all the reading, and on average, you've got 2 and a bit minutes per task. So you have to manage your time. The things that are fairly easy for you, if you can do them in a minute or a minute and a half, do it. Find the answer, quick check, choose next, move on, keep moving in the reading. And that way you'll buy a little bit of extra time for reorder paragraphs and some of the other more difficult ones. Some people find multiple choice, multiple answer, or reading, writing, fill in the blanks a little bit difficult. You might want more time there. Now, if you look here in the top right corner, when you're in the test, you're going to get this information. It's going to tell you how much time you have left. And so this is for the reading section. So for the entire reading section, this person has 29 minutes and 2 seconds left. We can see here they're going to get a total of 18 items. They're up to number 6. Now, quick bit of maths. 6 from 18 is 12 plus 1. This person has, or we have, 13 items left. Now, if you look at the clock and you think 13 items, 2 minutes each, that should be 26 minutes. So here we need 26. We've got 29. So in fact, we've got 2 minutes and a little bit per item. Our time at the moment, we're in the middle of the test if we're doing reorder paragraph. Our time at the moment is okay, we're on track. So work with these ideas here and just learn to very quickly work out you want to have at least 2 minutes per item, a little bit more, even better. That's what you should be aiming for. Timing, everything in the reading. Okay, what do you have to do? So you've got to take these boxes and drag them across there. Sometimes 4, usually 5. I've never seen more than 5. Okay, so that's the task. That's what we have to do. So method, what is the way that you can do this most easily? Okay, so first thing is to find the independent sentence. So what's an independent sentence? Does someone want to pop it into the chat? What does that mean? What do I mean when I say find the independent sentence? So Beninjo is saying the sentence with the complete meaning. Yes, and in particular, I'm not sure how well I won't dwell too much on these ones on the screen. I know the font is quite small, but in particular, this first sentence begins with one was a priest. Sorry, one of what? Can't be the first sentence. It doesn't make any sense to me as the first sentence. So which St. Valentine, this early Pope intended, sorry, which early Pope? And so you can see that some sentences seem to begin in the middle. So they must be related to something that came before. So the independent sentence is one that you can put at the top. It makes sense at the top. And what you need to do is think of everything you know about writing an essay. So if you think about the body paragraph of an essay, that very first sentence, it's called a topic sentence. What's the job of that sentence? And the job is to give the reader an idea of what they're going to read about, what the content of this paragraph will be. And so usually it's a fairly simple sentence. It's a general sentence. Often it's a short sentence. So if I look down here, my first guess, if I haven't even read them, my first guess is maybe this sentence. It's shorter than the other ones. A topic sentence, introductory, often shorter. So independent sentence, it's not linked backwards. It doesn't rely on another sentence for it to make sense. It makes sense just on its own. Often it's short, often it's general, it's introductory. So that's what you're trying to identify at the start. Then you follow the sequence of ideas. And that can be following pronouns through. So Muhammad Ali won the title fight. Next sentence, he. What does he mean? It means Muhammad Ali. It's linked back. So that's following a sequence of ideas. Also the example on the page here. The first time we talk about something, often it's a, and later it's the. A river runs through the middle of town, the river. So first time, a river, second time, the river, once you know which thing I'm talking about. So you can look to the grammar for clues about how things are sequenced together. Also look for the meaning. So you're trying to connect each sentence to the next one. Okay, then when you've done that, you check the whole paragraph. Does it make logical sense? So that's the method you're going to be using. Okay, and we're going to do some practice. And what you're looking for is the independent sentence and then links between the sentences. You can drag a sentence into place in the test. If you change your mind, you can drag it back again and drag another one up. So you can play with them a little bit and see what you think goes where. But we're going to do one now. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes on the clock. You'll have 2 minutes. In the test, probably you take a little bit longer, but we'll keep it to 2 minutes, see how far you can get with it. Okay. So are you ready? You want, probably you want to have pen and paper so you can write down B, C, A, E, D, whatever the order you think it should be. You can cross this one out, move it up there so you can play with it a little bit. So pen and paper you're going to need. Okay, so here's our text. You need to find the correct order. This is not the correct order. Okay, the clock is over here on the right. You need to monitor the clock, see how much time you're taking on it in general. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes and I'll just get rid of the video of me. So you can really focus on what you're doing. You've got 2 minutes to put these into the correct order. Then we'll check the answer together. Okay, off you go. Okay, so most of you agree that it begins with CE, and then there's a bit of disagreement after that, which is interesting. So let's have a look. Okay, so if we look at the answers, okay, so the very first thing we need to do is find the independent sentence. If I look at sentence A, it's talking about that era. Which era? Okay, can't be A. So it could be independent except for that. This one, his, what does his mean? So whose breakthrough? It doesn't make sense as an independent sentence. This is an independent sentence. Humphrey Bogart was an American film and stage actor. That looks good as an independent sentence. So I'll keep that one in mind. At the moment, I'm thinking C, Bogart's performances. Yeah, it's possible. It could start with that, but more likely a paragraph will start with a more general sentence. So I'm still favouring C, and C also has the bonus of being quite short and introductory. And then E can't be E because it's begins with he. So I've narrowed it down to C or D. I'm going with C. Now later on, if I decide, oh, something's not happening here, something's not quite right, I can still drag things around. So in the test, don't worry, if you want to change it, you can change it. Okay, so now I've got sentence C. Humphrey Bogart was an American film and stage actor. Let me just get my video back so you know who's talking. Okay, so Humphrey Bogart, I would expect that because it's introductory, that the topic is Humphrey Bogart, I would expect the next sentence to be about Humphrey Bogart. Could be about American film or stage actors. I expect this. Okay, so that narrows it down to these three. I can rule out the first one, his, Bogart's, or he. Which one of these? All three of them are possible. Okay. Now, another thing to look at here is the dates. I noticed the date 1941, 1948, 1950, 1930. Now, generally, a text will go in date order. Not always. Sometimes it'll say in 1960, the miniskirt was introduced. Before that, and then it'll go back further. So sometimes they'll come up to the present or to a time and then go earlier. But if there's nothing like that to indicate it, I would assume usually date order. So I would be thinking 1930, 1941, 1948 in that order. And again, if it doesn't seem to work out, I can change it later. I can move them around. Okay, so I've got my first two, Humphrey Bogart. He began acting, so it's talking about the beginning of his acting career. Okay, so the next sentence, it could follow up any of these. So it could continue with he as the subject, or the subject could shift, it could change to something else in the sentence. So you need to be aware that it can change. Okay, so I've got one of these two. So his and supporting, or it could be Bogart's, following up on he or supporting. So they're the options we've got. Okay, and we've got his breakthrough. Now, breakthrough, if you know the meaning, that helps. Breakthrough means the beginning of success. Okay, so he's got the beginning of his career, now his first success. The next sentence could be about Bogart, could be about one of the movies. Okay, could be a couple of different things, so need to be aware it could change again. Okay, so which one are we going to choose? Okay, could be either of them. I would choose this one because this links directly, Maltese Falcon, direct link. Okay, and then the last one. Now we go through and check that the whole paragraph makes logical sense. So we've got C-E-B-A-D. Okay, links here. Humphrey Bogart, he. We've got supporting actor, supporting roles, so they're linked. We've got the dates, 1930, 1941, 1948, and we've got Maltese Falcon. If we read through it again, it all makes logical sense. It's all sort of following sequentially. It makes sense. The links are there. Okay, so a few of you got that. Okay, so we've checked through it, looks good. And you need to be doing this in 2.5 to 3 minutes. And it's not easy. And as I said, for a native speaker, sometimes like that, we've got it. Other times it could take us 3 minutes. It can be tough, but you need to get quicker at it. You need to understand where these links might be, what they might be. Okay, now how do they mark this? Okay, so these are the correct answers, C-E-B-A-D. In this case, they're the correct answers. So what would happen if these were our answers? We put in C, C was correct. We put in A, no. B, yeah, B's correct. E, no. D, yes, D's correct. So we've got 3 out of 5, correct? No, it's not the way they mark it. In fact, for that, we would get 0. And a lot of you know this already. It's because of the way that it's marked. So it's marked in pairs of sentences. So 2 sentences together. We've got C and E, C and A. Is that pair correct? No. Next pair, E and B. Is it correct? No. Next pair, B and A. No. A and D. No. Okay. We've got 0 out of 4 because none of the pairs are correct. Okay, here we've got correct pairs, 4 out of 4. So when you have 5 sentences, 4 marks is possible, but only possible if you get all of the pairs. If there are 4 sentences, then 3 marks are possible, a score of 3. So it's marked in pairs, and that's also part of the reason you need to see those links between the sentences. Okay, so Benigno, sorry if I've got it wrong, Benigno is asking, if you drag your answers into the second box and they're wrong, can you change them? Yes, you can. So in the test, you can drag them, say, no, that can't be the second one. You drag it back. It must be this one. Oh, maybe it's this one. You can change them in the test. And it's not submitted until you hit submit. So yes, you can play with them. Okay, so this is the marking. Be aware of it. It's not about the correct sentence in the correct order. It's about correct pair of sentences. Okay, we're going to do another one. You brave enough? Who got that one right, actually? Just put something in the chat. Just put a tick or a yes. Put a Y if you got it correct. A Y for yes. Oh, fabulous. Pram's got it. Jaydeep's got it. And the Y's have stopped. Only 2 people. Come on. More people got that. Okay, so we have a few more. Shuri's nicely done. Okay. All right, and on YouTube, YouTube's a little bit slower, so it's a bit harder for me to see what's happening on YouTube. I don't know why there's a delay on YouTube. Anyway, are you ready to do another one? And what you're doing is you're looking for the independent sentence. And remember, often, not always, but often it's the shorter sentence. Often it's just visually. So I could go to that sentence first and check it perhaps. And yeah, that's an independent sentence. So that would be my first thought. If it's shortest, probably, possibly the first one, not necessarily. If there are dates, often it's in date order, usually, but not always. So yeah, there are tricks, there are swings and roundabouts. So Dora missed the last 2. So yeah, you lost a point, dropped a point there, Dora. Okay, here's the next one. Jump straight in. You've got 2 minutes. I'll get rid of my picture so you don't have to look at me. Okay, 2 minutes. Off you go. Okay, we've got most people saying DCABE, but not everyone. So what's the correct answer and how is it going to be scored? So as we're going through them, think about what your score would be. How did you go? Also think about if you didn't get them correct, why not? What was it that you missed? Okay, let's have a look then. So we've got answers First one, The Age is a daily newspaper in Melbourne, Australia, and has been published since 1854. Now that's the earliest date, which is interesting. So are we going in date order again? Did you take notice of the dates? It's often a good clue, but be aware of little phrases like prior to that, which tells us we've got a date, but now we're going to go earlier. Didn't do it here, did it? Okay, next one. It was founded by two New Zealanders, John and Henry Cook, and a Melbourneian, Walter Powell. Okay, for those of you living in Melbourne, did you know that you were Melbourneians? Okay, founded. So this is a word maybe you needed to know the meaning. Founded is like the word foundation, to begin something. So companies are founded. Companies are begun, they are started. Okay, so vocab might have thrown you there. Next one. The venture was not successful. What does that refer to? The venture. So the venture means the business starting the newspaper. So that venture, okay, was not successful in its first few years and was sold. Then by 1890, so we're coming forward in time, 1854, 1856, now we've moved to 1890. So by 1890, it was selling 100,000 copies a day, making it one of the world's most successful newspapers. That's a good claim to fame for a Melbourne newspaper. And then the last one, by the 1940s. So here are some of the things that were links. We've got The Age and It. We've got It was founded and The Venture. So The Age was founded, The Venture was started. So there, all of those are linked. Then we have dates, 54, 56, 90, and then the 1940s. So they were all the clues. Again, in this case, the first sentence was a little bit shorter than the others, and often that is a clue. It's not necessarily correct that it's the first one, but it's a good place to start looking. Okay, Tirumalisu, 4 out of 4. Fabulous, guys. Put in the score. What did you do? And remember, how did you go? Remember, it's pairs. Did you get D and C? 1 point. Did you get C and A? Another point. Did you get A and B? Another point. Did you get B and E? Another point. Yeah, from what I saw, a lot of you got this one right. This was probably a little bit easier for you, or maybe you were thinking of the sequential nature of the numbers, the sequence of the numbers. Okay, any questions? Pop them into the chat. Okay, so people on YouTube are doing a brilliant job. That was all looking pretty good. DCABE, most of you got that. Not everyone, most of the people. If you didn't get it, why not? What happened? It could be something as strange as, did you misread this number? Be careful with your numbers. Okay, so at the end of the class, I'll give you a link to some more practice with reorder paragraphs. So I'm going to give you 3 of them to do, and then you'll have the answers at the end. So it's a PDF document. Okay, so Kiran's saying, I hope we get these sorts of questions during the exam. In the exam, you're going to get 3 or 4 of them. It is likely you're going to get some easy and some difficult. There is always a spread because PTE is not a pass-fail exam. What they want to do is work out who is at this sort of pre-intermediate level, who's intermediate, who is this. So who's at the different levels? The only way they can determine that is by having some questions that are very easy. They expect everyone will get this right. This one, it's in the middle. They expect 50% of people will get this question right. This one, oh, this is a tough one. Only the top 5% will get this one right. So you're going to get a spread of questions from very easy through to impossibly difficult. It's okay. You don't have to get them all correct. So don't overthink it. Don't worry. You're just doing your best. Before the test, you're improving your vocab, improving your knowledge of grammar, improving your knowledge of these test questions. How can you manage them best? Okay, so what else have we got here? So Niha's asking, if the last pair is incorrect, do I get marks? Yes, you do. So if you've got DC, you're going to get 1 mark. Even if you've got DC at the end, all you need is DC somewhere, you've got 1 mark. So if you've got this pair wrong, you've got 3 out of 4. If you said EB, you've got this pair's correct, this pair's correct. Oh no, you've only got this. If you said EB, you've got DC, yes. CA, yes. AB, no. Okay, and this pair, no, so you would have 2 in that case. So what you're doing, Neha, I'd need to see it written out, but see your answer written out. But what you need to do is look at each pair you have correct. D, C, anywhere, 1 mark. C, A, anywhere in here, even if it's not second and third, even if you put them 4th and 5th, but you have C, A, you do get that mark. So you're looking for pairs. Okay, so Deepika is asking, how much time should I spend on this to achieve the goal? To give to this task? This task, I would suggest between 2 and 3 minutes. So this one, actually, when I was doing them just before class, I just went through them to remind myself. The first one took me about 1.5 minutes. I'm a native speaker. It took me a while. This one I did in about 20 seconds, like that. It was quite an easy one to do. So, but what you don't want to do is spend more than 3 minutes on any of them. And in the whole reading section, move quickly. Don't overthink and check and check and recheck and recheck. Choose the answer you think in any of the reading questions. Choose the answer you think, check, go next. Next one, choose your answer, quick check, next. Don't overthink them, you won't get to the end. So you want to keep moving, on average, 2 and a little bit, 2 minutes and a little bit per question. Okay, I'll have a look at some of the questions down here on YouTube. Okay, so Kartik has a typo. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, I don't have the Zoom link. You would need to go through the E2 language gateway. Okay, so Hanu is asking an unrelated question, Hanu, asking about fill the blanks. Do we have to use capitals or small letters? Small letters. Don't, in any test, never use capitals for everything, like never write a whole word in capital. Definitely don't write a whole essay in capitals. If you write your essay in caps, you will get 0. Even if it's the most brilliant essay ever, you get 0 for the whole essay if it's written in capitals. So in general, you need to follow normal conventions, capital letter, beginning of a sentence, and then just lowercase unless it's a proper noun. So normal conventions of English, Hannah. Okay, Anupreet, if we said BA instead of AB, no, you're going to lose marks for that. So every pair that is correct, 1 mark, that's it. So Jasna's just told you that as well. Excellent. Pram's asking, what's the trickiest part of the reading section? That's a tough one. This one, a reorder paragraph, many people find that tricky. Some people find reading, writing, fill in the blanks the most difficult. And that one is difficult. And the reason it's difficult is that often it's testing you at native speaker level. So in reading, writing, fill in the blanks, you've got a drop-down box, 4 possible answers. You need to choose one. When I look at them, usually I can say those 2, definitely not. But there are 2 left. Often there are 2 left. I'm thinking, well, they both work. You could use either one. And so then it comes down to native speaker knowledge. In this particular context, which one is most likely to be used? That can be tough, Pram. And that's really testing you at the top of your English ability. So that's the kind of question, often in reading, writing, fill in the blanks, it's the kind of question that really is native speaker knowledge. Only the top 5% will get it. Another question that's difficult for many people is multiple choice, multiple answer. That one's difficult because you don't know how many answers. You know, there are 2, maybe 3, not sure. And if you make a mistake, so if you get 1 right, 1 wrong, you'll get 0, because if you negative marking, you make a mistake, you lose a point. So that's a tricky one. But today we're looking at reorder paragraph. Okay. So I'll give you a link at the end to some more practice. But first of all, if we have a quick look at what's happening this week and next week, not this week, but next week on Wednesday, there's a masterclass with Jay, and he does this every second Wednesday. So he did one last week, he's doing one next week, not this week. Okay, we've got speaking, two different speaking classes. We've got listening, speaking, writing, reading, 2 different classes for each one. We'll look in more detail in a moment, and also small group classes. So this is a different way of looking at that same information. We're looking at 21st, 27th of September. I don't know why I left a slash there. Typo I didn't pick up. Okay. So this is for this week. This is where we are at the moment. So on Monday, we've got the free PTE sampler. In an hour and a half, we're going to have a new member welcome. So this is for free members and paid members. If you're new to the website and you're not quite sure how to use the things in your package or what is available to you, come along to this class and you can ask questions and I can explain things in more detail. But just fairly quickly at the moment, if we go across here, so continue down on the Monday, speaking live, speaking advanced. And if you look across in this orange box, these are our main 8 classes, speaking, writing, reading, listening, 2 of them. And these are 8 different classes. Every week, these classes change. So we've got speaking live, speaking advanced, writing live, writing advanced. What's the difference between the live and the advanced? Okay, the difference is the live class gives you assistance with methods. It's going to teach you the methods. You'll do a little bit of work on vocab and grammar, and you'll practice all 5 speaking tasks. Now, in the advanced class, it's assumed you already know the methods. You've attended the live classes. You've got a lot of experience. You know the methods. We don't want to keep telling you. You know the methods. You don't need much help with grammar or vocab. We're going to give you more practice with all 5 of those speaking tasks. And that's the same across the week, reading and listening, same thing. So listening, 8 tasks. In the live class, you'll do all 8 tasks, plus methods, plus vocab and grammar. In the advanced class, the 8 tasks, more practice, more examples to work with. And these classes are repeated during the week, so for people in different time zones. So do be aware of that. So here we have reading live class. This is the first time it comes, and then it's repeated the next day. So be aware of that. If it has the same name, it has exactly the same content. So it's the same material. So it could be a different teacher. It is still a live class. You can still put things in the chat and the teacher will respond, but it's the same material. Okay, and then they get repeated a few times sometimes. So the speaking and the writing are repeated on the weekend and during the week a little bit as well. So here's another writing on Friday and here's one on Sunday, so they're both repeats. We also have small group classes. So here's one on Saturday. That's for describe image. Small group class, 1 teacher, 4, 5 students working on, in this case, describe image. So really going through examples, and you get an opportunity to do one with the class, and the teacher will give you individual feedback, what you've done well, what you need to improve on. Okay, so there are all the different classes, live classes that are on offer. Okay, there's something else you need to be aware of, and here's our reminder. There is material coming up at the end, so I don't forget to give it to you. The E2 study pathway. So on the main page, when you log in, you see the calendar, which looks a little bit like you can see in this picture here. Next to that is the study pathway. And what you need to do is answer a few simple questions, and then it's going to populate the pathway for you. So what score are you targeting? When are you doing the test? What level are you now? It'll create a pathway for listening, speaking, reading and writing that you should follow in your circumstances. And that's a very easy way just to get through all of the material, to work your way through all of the material. Okay, a good way to study in general is if you plan to attend a live class or an advanced class later in the day, attend during the day, work on the same kind of material on the platform. So if you plan to attend a reading live class today, maybe before that, you can do some individual private study, your own work on our platform, work through the exercises. Then you're going to realize where you're confident, where you lack confidence, where you're not quite sure what to do. And then when you come to the live class, you've got an opportunity to talk with the teacher, listen to the teacher, see what they say about it. So develop your knowledge and your confidence in that way. Okay, common question. How long do I need to study? A lot of people ask me this one. So you need 79. How long do you have to study? Well, it totally depends on what your level is now, what level you're targeting, and your life. Are you working full time? Have you got 3 jobs? Have you got 2 young children at home? Do you live alone with your parents and your parents look after you? Much easier life. Okay, so it kind of depends. And the answer basically is if you're about the right level, you're targeting 79, your level is somewhere in the 75 to 83, somewhere around there, a month and you can do it. Some people can do it in a week. You can't do it if you've never looked at PTE and you walk in to the test today. No, you won't do it. But because you need to learn all of the different, all 20 tasks and the ways to manage them. And as an example of that, I'm a native speaker. Before I knew anything about PTE 4 years ago, I did the test. I got 83 for speaking. Now, I'm a native speaker. I've been teaching English, teaching IELTS, teaching in universities. I got 83. My speaking's pretty good. The reason was at that time, I didn't know the different methods to approach the tasks. I didn't know what the tasks were really looking for. But once you understand that, your mark comes up immediately. So now when I do the test, I get 90 every time, purely because I really know those methods. Strong English, know the methods, you can get 90. A lot of our students do get 90. Their English is not perfect, but they know the methods. Their English is pretty good. They can get the 90. So if you're about the right level, 1 month, yes, you can do it. 1 week, possibly you can do it. If you're below the right level, you've got 2 things to do. You've got to bring up your English and learn the tasks. It could take you several months depending on what your level is. Okay, we do recommend that you study minimum 1 hour per day. So just jumping back up here, 1 hour per day minimum. So not 7 hours on Saturday, but 1 hour every day. That works best with the way that your brain manages information. You know, the idea of you go to sleep and your brain is kind of mulling over information. Some of it's going into your long-term memory, and that happens if you study every day. It's better for your English. Okay, if you're not sure of your level, mini mock test, strongly recommended. Our mini mock test takes about 1 hour and a half. Now the real test takes you 3.5 hours, mini mock test, 1.5 hours. It goes through all 20 tasks. It's going to give you feedback on each of them, so you know what you got right, what you got wrong. For your essay, for example, you're going to get a score for your essay with a lot of information and also a comment from the teacher saying what you've done well, what you need to work on. Same with the summarised spoken text, summarised written text, describe image, retell lecture. You'll get feedback from the teacher on what you need to work on. So the mini mock test, it'll give you a score for all 4 skills and an overall score. Okay, and then we've got other ways of getting feedback, small group classes. I mentioned those before. So 3, 4, 5 students, 1 teacher focusing on one thing. You can submit an assessment task. So for most of you, it's part of your package that you can submit essays and summarised spoken, summarised written text and describe image, retell lecture. You can do those, submit them. A teacher will listen to them and comment, or read them and comment, give you a score and tell you what you need to work on. Also a tutorial. Tutorials are very valuable. That's a one-on-one with a teacher. It's a 45-minute session with a teacher. If it's part of your package, make sure you take it. Incredibly valuable to helping you work out exactly what you need to focus on, what you need to do to bring your score up to that next level. Okay, and if you do that, if you book a tutorial, time that suits you, normally you choose 3 things that you want to work on, but essentially it's your tutorial, so you can determine what happens there. If you're not confident or you're not quite sure, the teacher can certainly manage it for you, but any questions, anything, tutorial, perfect place to get those responses. Okay, so if you want more practice, if you're on YouTube, put the word content into the chat. And if you're on Zoom, my mouse isn't working here. I'm just looking for the address to put into the Zoom chat for the people in Zoom so you can all access the material. Okay, so if you're on Zoom, I've just put the link into the chat. So put that in. If you can just confirm for me that it's working, that would be good. It should be working. So put something into the chat. Let me know. Okay, they're coming up in a couple of weeks. So not next Friday, but the weeks after that. So starting in October, we'll also have a free live class that you can attend. So I'll be teaching that class at the same time as this, except on a Friday. So that's coming up. Okay, my pleasure, Benigno. I hope that's been useful for you. You can do it. Be methodical about how you approach it. And particularly with reading, manage your time. 2 minutes, 2 and a bit minutes on average per task. Okay, thanks, Deborah, for letting me know that it's working. Okay, the word content is an interesting one. That's one of those that if you get the stress pattern wrong, the meaning is completely different. So content means the inside, so it's the material in this case. But if you say content, that means you're happy. Okay, so hopefully you're content with the content. So work on your stress patterns as well, guys. Okay, pleasure to join you today. I enjoy doing these classes with you. If ever you have a question you'd like to ask something, the address is hello@e2language. So if you email us at that address, hello@e2language.com, someone will get back to you. So that can be a question about PTE, it can be a question about your package at E2 Language, or you're thinking of taking a package, but you're not sure, or there's some issue. hello@E2 Language to contact us. Someone will get back to you fairly soon. Thank you, guys. Been a pleasure to be with you. Good luck with all of your studies in PTE. Take care.